Welcome back to the deep dive. We're stepping into a different kind of space today. We're pulling excerpts from chapter 13 of Killing the Emperor Hogs.
Yes, and this chapter, it really feels different. It's got this heavy quality. The book podcaster notes hit it spot on. It's about the silence after everything High and Russia have been through.
Exactly. You can almost feel it, can't you?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the work, well, the immediate work is done. And there's just this weight. Their boots on the floor, maybe the glow of a cigarette. It's quiet, but it's loud quiet.
Definitely. A war story, like the notes say, but maybe the war is inside now, or maybe they just survived one. And there's that mention of a myth, someone vanishing in the snow, adds to the haunting feel.
So our mission today really is to sit with that stillness, to try and unpack what's inside it. What does it tell us about, well, survival, about burnout, and that really strange comfort you can sometimes find when you're just completely wrung out, sitting next to someone else who gets it without talking.
And the core themes are right there. Trauma bonding, definitely. How sharing something awful connects people. Emotional numbness, a big one here. That silent companionship we mentioned, and how myths and memories kind of bubble up and shape things, even now.
It really sets this hollow, almost
Wow.
haunting tone. So as you listen, keep those symbols in mind. The boots, that cigarette glow, the idea of vanishing, that sort of cool blue dusk light described, they anchor us.
Okay, so let's start maybe not with the silence between them, but with High's internal state just before they all meet up for this job. He's back at Grozina's place. Restless.
Right. And he finds something he was looking for. It tells you immediately where his head's at. 3 bottles of Dilaudid, 4 milligrams.
And his internal monologue there, it's crucial. He's fighting with himself, isn't he? I'm no junkie. I'm in control. He rationalizes it. He's down to his last few pills. These new ones are just functional to get through work shifts, to build a base so the hours are bearable.
Which is such a classic justification, isn't it? Just needing something to get through. And the source immediately ties it back to his discharge from rehab. That rainy morning, the antiseptic smell, feeling like a mannequin, just totally depleted.
Yeah, physically out, but mentally, emotionally, clearly not okay. That contrast between the nurse, Marilyn, doing her job, very clinical, and the idea of getting, like, candy from someone,
Yeah.
it highlights how inadequate that clinical approach feels for what he's going through.
So he leaves rehab, walks out into the rain, heading somewhere specific, through East Gladness, cutting through yards, ends up at this duplex. And there's that knock.
The skunk in the barnyard knock, childhood code, opens the door to Randy, the candy man. And there's this whole backstory selling actual candy from a shoebox as kids. And now it's...
Foxycontin, codeine.
And Randy's just such a character, slapping things, laughing too loud, and that immediate jab, lose your library card again.
Oof. And that line, it lands because it's not just random, is it? Randy thinks reading is kid stuff, but Hay remembers crying to Randy during a bad trip about losing his library card. It's a shared dark memory twisted into a joke.
Exactly. It's built on High's past vulnerability. And you sense something else in Randy too, right? The source mentions High seeing this vague sadness, or was it pity? Like, because High looks so rough, so terrible self-inflicted haircut. And Randy gives him a contact lens case for the pills. It's weirdly practical, almost considerate.
It really underscores this strange, maybe strained connection, this awkward quiet after the deal, that feeling of use for one another exhausted. It's not friendship, it's history and need. Even Randy's, "You gonna be fine, my man," sounds a bit desperate as High walks away.
So High leaves Randy. Where does he go? To the park. That blue hippopotamus slide he used to hide under as a kid, trying to clear his mind, because he has this monumental task ahead.
Telling his mother the truth about dropping out about everything.
And thinking about telling her just triggers this incredibly painful memory. The night he got back from New York. Why he dropped out his friend Noah's overdose. His grandmother, Bongoy, dying from cancer. Just devastating blows, one after another.
And the money. Owning the school 25 grand because he defaulted on the scholarship. It's just this avalanche of failure and grief.
His mother's reaction in that memory, it's brutal. Shock first, then just pure cutting disappointment and anger. I knew you'd fuck up just like all the other trash around here, and dragging up little kid stuff like him eating her McDonald's fries.
God, yeah. How anger weaponizes the smallest things. The fight escalates. He throws the Whitman sampler he bought her. She retreats upstairs. And then just weeks of silence, actively avoiding each other in that tiny apartment. Horrible.
So now, back in the present, at the park, he's looking through the lace curtains, and he sees her. On the couch, candlelight, dressed up, smiling at her phone. It's this glimpse of private happiness. Unfixed and unknowable contentment, something he's never seen.
And that's the crux of it, isn't it? The weight isn't just his failure, it's the pain he knows he'll inflict. How could he possibly shatter that moment for her, this rare glimpse of peace?
Exactly, it paralyzes him. The burden of the secrets, the lies. He can't do it, not now. He leaves the park, wanders, ends up back at Grazina's.
Hmm.
And how does this section end?
He takes one of the Dilaudid, and the description is just warm as a blood cell, finally good.
There it is, that emotional numbness, the chemical blanket, not just for physical pain, but to switch off the feelings, the memories, the fear of the future, a total escape.
Okay, so from that really internal, quiet pain, the chapter just throws us somewhere completely different. Hai leaves Grazina's, meets up with Maureen in Russia, and we're suddenly heading into, well, the underworld. The Slaughterhouse.
Yeah, the whole mood shifts. The drive itself, Maureen's Volkswagen Beetle, beat up, sure, but strung with Christmas lights. Powered by the cigarette lighter, it's described as sleazy and cozy all at once. Just bizarre.
And the drinking starts immediately. Maureen's got a flask. Wayne, the guy in charge, he's got this gold revolver-shaped flask, a six-shooter, Harry on a Capital. Takes a sip, just to go along. Russia pipes up, "My dad's a drunk!" Sets the tone.
And Wayne clarifies the job pretty quick. This isn't just packing meat, it's working meat. Machetes involved. He uses the term organic farm-to-store pork production facility, but yeah, it's a slaughterhouse out near the silos.
And the source immediately points out the hypocrisy, right? The labels say free range, organic. The reality, cramped pens, pigs can barely turn, getting antibiotics because the feed gives them acidosis. They don't even use the tiny patch of mud they supposedly have access to.
It's grimly cynical.
Yeah.
And then there's that aside Wayne makes, just stated as a rumor he heard about Linda McMahon, the WWE co-founder, rumored to have ordered 30 hogs from this very place for a fundraiser. It's just dropped in there, part of the bleak picture, no comment.
Stepping inside that tarp tent, the description is intense, like Civil War hospitals. The smell urine and iron, blood, hogs strung up, floodlights glaring, and heavy metal music blasting. Slipknot, Rage Against the Machine, just sensory overload.
And Hai and Russia are thrown right into it. The bolt gun, simple mechanism, a little piece of metal goes into the head. But the reality, horrific. Pigs collapsing, screaming, thrashing, blood, foam. Wayne's there, jamming his knee and shooting again if needed, cutting throats, saying things like, this stuff's inside us too.
Yeah, and people love eating meat, but they don't have a damn clue what it's about. And that line about it feeling weirdly like combat.
It's just brutal, and the boy's reactions are so raw. Russia's just staring, this ghastly stare, blood on his face, crying, "Oh, fuck, what do I do?"
Total shock. Hai's wincing, trying to coach him through it, whispering, go on, hurry up.
And Hai finds his coping mechanism almost immediately. Looking only at the ears, trying to trick his brain, convincing himself it's like stapling fabric, pinning death onto nothing. Just trying to dissociate, you know? Make it mechanical. Absolutely. And Maureen, who brought them there, she's not handling it well either. Shoving Altoids up her nose against the smell, drinking, eventually just slumping over a dead sow, vomiting, wiping her mouth on her sleeve. Everyone's just trying to survive the experience in their own way.
This is the shared trauma, right? This is where that bond starts to form. Plunged into this horrific scene together, something most people can't even imagine.
Mm-hmm. And then later during the work, Hai actually takes a phone call from his mother, which is just surreal.
Talk about layers of deception. He's standing there surrounded by death, telling her he's running errands, talking about dissection for school, autopsies even.
And her replies are so far removed from his reality. She's telling him to pray for the pig souls, talking about animal spirits, Mr. Vu the exterminator, lucky number 8. It's this incredible, jarring disconnect.
It really hammers home how separate his worlds are. This horrific reality he's in and the lies he tells to shield her from it, while she's worried about, superstitions.
Wayne, the foreman, he offers these little moments of perspective too, calls himself a dad. "I was you once, young buck." But then reveals he doesn't even have a photo of his own son, Knight. Says it's not good looking at what you can't have. There's a sadness there.
Yeah, like a wound he carries. Projecting it onto these younger guys, maybe?
And he uses these metaphors. Being a hammer, not knowing who's wielding him, that dude up there or the motherfucker down here, and that image of the tree.
Oh yeah, the solitary tree, all wild branches, versus the trees in a forest reaching straight up for the light, together. Wayne says it's probably bullshit, but I believe it.
It's a really powerful thought about connection, isn't it? How environment shapes you. Are you fighting alone, or are you part of something, drawing strength, maybe even direction from the others around you, even if those others are just fellow sufferers in a terrible job?
But then, contrasting that deep thought, his current babies are 3 black pugs with pink bows. He smiles big, showing their photo. It's that mix the source mentions, hardened, knows secrets, but capable of this unexpected tenderness.
The lunch break comes, KFC. The men scatter. And the description of Russia, scraped out, eyes sunken and spacey. Even his teeth look different, endearing now to Hai. That shows the impact, how the shared ordeal shifts perception.
And those quiet moments really land. Maureen and Wayne sharing the flask again. Wayne starting to say something, then stopping. It echoes that deep, awkward, quiet Hai had with Randy. That sense of use, exhausted, not hostile, just nothing left to say. They're just being together in the aftermath. Too tired.
The myth comes back again. Wayne tells the story of the Emperor Hog. Berkshire pigs, England to Japan, the Emperor amazed, Christianity arriving via pork. It's kind of rambling.
And the reactions show how they use it, right? Someone says, sounds like a bunch of bull. Russia makes a dark joke about peasants versus emperors. Hai links it, grimly, to Linda McMahon again. They twist the old story to fit their reality now.
Finding that dark humor. Then there's the image of the slaughtered hogs lying in the snow, and Russia just says flatly, she doesn't give a fuck, just cutting through any myth or romance back to the cold truth.
And Hai's thoughts drift, then, to the souls of the pigs. He's lost count, wonders where the souls go, dismisses it as silly, but then asks, what if they just lie down? What if they decide enough is enough?
And that leads to the line that hits so hard, reflecting his own state. What if the soul is just as tired as the body? That speaks volumes about burnout, doesn't it? Not just tired muscles, but soul-weary. Existential exhaustion, numbness at the core.
The ride home encapsulates all of this. Back in Maureen's Beetle, driving through these cobalt hills, and they have to wear cutout garbage bags so they don't ruin her car seats with blood and everything.
The practicality of horror and the heavy silence inside the car. Russia's asleep, snoring. The only sound is the clicking of those glass Christmas bulbs against the window. Surreal. They didn't get the bonus they were promised. Wayne just gives them $50 each. A silent pact. A secret brotherhood, the source calls it.
And it all culminates in that final scene back at Gruzina's. The clapping. Maureen's trying to cope, talking about lizards and negative energy.
And she claps her hands together, and the dried blood just bursts off into these purple clouds.
Such a visceral, shocking image. Graphic, yeah, but also strangely beautiful in a really messed up way. Russia's instant dark joke, gender reveal, Wayne's punchline, means you're screwed, and they laugh. Uneasy laughter.
That moment, that shared, bizarre, awful moment, that's trauma bonding crystallized, finding connections, some kind of release, even humor in the absolute pits of a shared experience. That purple dust, it's like the physical manifestation of what they went through together. It binds them.
Wow. So that brings us to the end of this dive into Chapter 13. Quite a journey, huh? Through that heavy silence, the sheer effort of survival, and the residue of experience.
Yeah, we really saw that quiet after the storm, didn't we? And the different ways numbness shows up, the pills, the booze, just mentally checking out, like Hai looking at the ears.
And that weird comfort that doesn't come from words, just from being next to someone who's seen the same thing, grounded by mundane things, even horrible things made mundane.
And amidst all the grimness, those flashes, the dark jokes, Wayne's tree analogy, the picture of his pugs, those unforgettable purple clouds. Moments of connection, however strange.
Thinking back to those symbols. The heavy boots, the cigarette glow in the dark, that feeling of vanishing innocence, hope, maybe parts of themselves, and that pervasive blue dusk over everything.
It all creates this atmosphere, doesn't it? A feeling of suspension, waiting, recovery maybe, but still steeped in the exhaustion and the memory of the horror.
So maybe here's a thought to leave you with, something that comes right out of this chapter's core. What if real companionship, the deepest kind, isn't always about talking things through? What if sometimes it's forged in silence? That silent understanding between people who've, well, seen the same underworld. They just exist together afterwards, too tired for words, bound by that purple dust of what they shared. Is that silence a place where healing happens? Or is it just another way to vanish?
There's something to think about. Until next time.
That's the deep dive for today.